Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this time we're gonna be talking about the Arcane Compendium Armour Enchantments. And the first one here on the list is gonna be Death Cheater. So Death Cheater gives you +1 armor, Fortitude 4 up. I rated this as a neutral enchantment because it is quite costly, and then the effect it gives you, well, the +1 armor is always nice. But there's other enchantments that give you the same for like 40 points or less. And then the Fortitude 4 up, well, it is nice to have a Fortitude, and 4 up is also quite nice. But then again, Fortitude is only applicable if you don't face an enemy with flaming attacks or with lethal strike. And also there's some special save ignoring weapons. So I don't know actually how useful it is in combination with all the flaming that is available in the game, and also the increasing amount of lethal strike that you encounter throughout the game. For example, the Dread Elf Raptors have it as well now. You have the Claws and Saurian Ancients in the new lab, Claws and Teeth or something. They also give lethal strike. So I don't know how useful it actually is, because it already did not feel that useful, especially in combination with the fact that alchemy is there, and it triggers basically on your armor and ignores any fortitude saves because it's flaming attacks. So I am usually not that enthusiastic about Death Cheater, but it is obviously quite matchup dependent. If you have a Manticore with Death Cheater on top, then it might as well be quite resilient compared to if you don't have it. However, the alternative would be to get like Essence of Mithril or any other armor enchantment, basically, to get you to like a 2-up, maybe 1-up armor save, and get a Talisman of Shielding instead, which is more universally applicable, even though it is like a 5-up special save instead of a 4-up. Next one is going to be Destiny's Call. I think this one is well, better than better than Death Cheater, because it gives you Aegis 4 up, and it also sets your armor to 3. In that sense, it's worse than Death Cheater because it well, you're gonna have a 4 up armor. But yeah, I still value this more than Death Cheater usually. Also because Death Cheater eats up all of your special equipment slot, or at least a big part of it, whilst Destiny's Call leaves some of that as juicy special equipment limit available. So it's also possible now on large models, so Mammoth Hunters, but otherwise I would also advise to use it on an Empire Wizard and Imperial Guards to make use of the bodyguard rule of the Imperial Guard. Because in that sense, well, it is a character that is present, and just the addition of 70 points on your wizard makes it for a really tough character actually to get out of the unit. Then we have Dusk Forged. So Dusk Forged, I would say, is not that good. Mostly because it's a shield enchantment and it does not give you any armor bonus by itself. So you have to combine it with, well, a weapon that can go alongside a shield, which normally is like a lance, or something like a cavalry pick works, Chosen Lord with Symbol of Slaughter, I put it here. But between a lance and Dusk Forge, there's a bit of an anti-synergy going on, because with a lance you really want to go for the charge, go through something, and then continue your journey. And Dusk Forge is kind of built to grind, because you're just going to ignore a lot of wounds that are being dealt to you. So that is kind of contradictory, and otherwise it's best used on a 1-up armor save model, because otherwise, well, you're going to waste some of your armor save basically on this item. Like, it could be better if as you get a better armor save, it's a better item. So you really want to get to this 1-up armor save, so you often need further investment to get there. So at some point it's better to get a special save instead of Dusk Forged, like for example Death Cheater, like for example Essence of Mithril, Talisman Shielding. So it's actually quite situational in my eyes when Dusk Forged would be the best option. Then to continue the list, we have Essence of Mithril. I think this is one of the best ones. So it just unconditionally sets your armor to 5. It cannot be improved beyond that, but that's actually just quite fine. So the funny thing here is also that you only have to pay for light armor and Essence of Mithril. And for example, a Empire of Sunstyle prelate has to pay 25 points to upgrade its heavy armor to plate armor and has to pay 15 points for a shield. So actually putting on Essence of Mithril is nearly cheaper than getting to a 1-up armor or a 2-up armor save in any other way. Unless you want to buy him a horse, but a horse is also quite expensive. So this is basically the poor man's version of Destiny's Call. I would say the Destiny's Call is generally better because a 4-up Aegis save you cannot get rid of, whilst a 2-up armor save, there's still things in the game that can remove that. And Destiny's Call, it's also possible now on large, so same examples as before, basically. To continue down the list, we go to Basalt Infusion. Next to Destiny's Call, this is one of the other best armor enchantments, I would say. It's quite expensive for what it does, because it only gives you +1 armor, and well, it gives you an Aegis against flaming attacks. That seems quite inconsequential, but then again, with the amount of flaming attacks that are currently present in the game, and the fact that the anti-armor lore is alchemy, which is also relying a lot on flaming. Like the only spell that's in there that doesn't rely on flaming attacks is Silver Spike, but then other lores would be better to deal with cowboys if you're going to go up against fireproof cowboys. Yeah, and it's also a very generic item to use, so you can also use it in combination, for example, with Dusk Forged, to also get rid of the weakness that Dusk Forged has, which is alchemy magic. So then we go to the next one, which is going to be Ghostly Guard. I would say that Ghostly Guard usually is only to be played at smaller events, where you're a bit more limited in your points. Or in well, environments where you know that you can have some flanking action and where there will not be a lot of magical attacks on the flanks. Because nowadays it's quite normal to get a Wizard Master or a Wizard Adept and some other spells. And there's usually also some ranged offensive damage in there. And these spells usually have at least AP1. So effectively against your Ghostly Guard guy who would have like a 1-up armor save, against magic you'll only have a 3-up and then after AP1 a 4-up armor save, which is definitely not good enough to protect you if you're an important character. So places where I could still imagine seeing this would be like a Goblin King on a Cave Nasher, because this is the kind of value of support piece where it doesn't really matter if you lose him or not. Still does quite a lot of damage, and it is quite juicy to get into these scenarios where you will benefit from the save. But then again, if you don't really benefit from the save, it's also not too bad. It synergizes quite well with Witchfire Guard from the Empire, where you get a 4-up Aegis versus magical attacks. But then you're going to be spending 70 points, I believe, to get +2 on your armor and get a 4-up Aegis against magic only. So maybe even Destiny's Call would be better in that case. Then we have Alchemist Alloy. Alchemist Alloy is kind of the cheap version of Basalt Infusion. If you don't have the points for Basalt Infusion, run Alchemist Alloy. And yeah, it's usually best on characters that don't really want to get in combat or that just want an armor save. I would say that Wizards on Arcane Engines, Battle Shrines, Elf Lords because they already have Lightning Reflexes and a very high offensive skill, so they will hit on 2+ anyway. So they kind of ignore the -2 offensive skill from Alchemist Alloy. I think it's a good enchantment for the for the situations mentioned. Then the last one on the list is going to be Willis Ward. So Willis Ward is also quite good. The downside is that it's for models on foot only. And you have to use a shield, so you're really geared for defense. I would have liked this item to actually give like +2 armor and -1 attack or something, because then it really sets the role for your model. But yeah, it's definitely quite good for if you want to make your foot model a bit more tanky. Even though it's a bit of a shame that in 9th age it's so challenging to make your foot models work. So that was a very quick video, I would say. But yeah, this is my overview on the armor enchantments.